Whenever you're ready to start it.
So what do I say? If you don't know, at Dynamic Discs, Latitude 64, and Westside Discs, we have some new releases coming out this year. And I have 2 of each of those here in front of me. So I took a stack of, there's 6 of them, and Anthony took a stack of 6 of them. And on the only nice day in the past month and a half, we went out and played around at Jones East.
Using only prototype discs.
Only the prototype discs. They have the Latitude 64 Recoil, is a distance driver. The Pioneer is a fairway driver, and the Keystone is a putter. Dynamic Discs Vandal is a fairway driver, and the Guard is a putter. And the Westside Discs Gatekeeper is a straight to overstable mid-range.
Yep.
So, real quick, let us know in the comments before we get started who you think won. Let's go ahead and get started here. You ready?
Yep. Oh, I've been ready.
Been born ready. All right, here we go. So hole 1 at Jones East is a 350-foot par 3. You're going with a forehand off the tee. It's a bit long for a forehand.
I was thinking Vandal on a backhand, but I thought it might be a little too fast. I thought it might carry a little bit too far, and I know there's no way I'm going long with the sidearm. So
this is the first time I've thrown a disc in probably like a month, maybe. So that was reflected that, and also this one reflected that.
This
that
was the second time.
I went with the backhand Vandal off the tee, a Keystone on the approach, and I just didn't quite put it on the Anheuser. Are you running this putt?
I was trying to. I was using the Guard. I've heard it has a ton of glide, which you can see it does, but I tried to putt to the basket instead of through the basket, and shockingly, I came up short.
I don't remember if I was running this one or not. We're going to go with no.
It's a good layup.
We're going to guess no on that one. I don't actually remember. But that is going to unfortunately give me a 4 on the first hole. So I am over par, and Anthony is ecstatically even par.
Very, very happy with that.
As we move on to hole 2 at Jones East, this is a fairly wide open 300-foot hyzer. So we're both going with the Pioneer here. Yep. And there's not a ton of wind to speak of, maybe a little bit of left to right. So we're just trying to put it up there and let the wind stick it next to the basket.
Yeah, it's really just throw a wide open hyzer with anything that you can throw 300 feet with. And I kind of sawed that one off a little bit, threw it a little bit too tight and not enough power. Got myself probably 80, 70 feet.
I decided to do the exact opposite. I threw it a little too flat and a little too right. So I thought I would hear a splash or see a splash when it landed there, but I ended up just about 25 right. So are you going Guard again, or is this the Keystone?
This is the Guard again. I figured I didn't quite give it enough the first time. Let me give it a real chance. And still missed a little bit short. It's a slower flying putter, but that thing has so much glide to it. It's crazy.
So this is to tie things up. I'm going with the Keystone on 0 practice putts. Jam. I was so happy to make that one. So that was
a little bit of excitement there.
Just a little bit. Just to tie it up after 2 holes. I'm very happy to have done that.
You see, now you're ecstatic.
So moving on to hole 3 here. This is a 525-foot par 4. You can generally go a hyzer or an Anheuser off the tee, and I decided to go with the Anheuser here. Unfortunately, I threw it with way too much Anheuser and way too low. It was...
there was a little bit of a headwind as well.
It's not my best effort. I'll chalk it up to still warming up here. You're going with the hyzer look.
Yes, and spoiler alert, I overcorrected off of yours and threw mine far lower than I meant to, but it at least came out good, and it's in a decent spot for a nice little hyzer approach.
Yeah, there should be a big hyzer look from there. If that gets like 20 skips, you're parked.
That was a really good shot 20 feet to the right.
Dang it, yeah. I know that feeling. It was the last hole for me. And I thought this would be a great chance to show off the Gatekeeper, just gap it through there. Ended up getting lucky off that branch. I think that's the flight that the Gatekeeper really lends itself to. That little bit of hyzer that just goes very straight the whole time and then finishes left. And that was actually a Guard on the upshot here. And are you going? You switched up to the Keystone?
I switched it to the Keystone just to make sure I got it there. I was not running that. Just get my 4. I'm not making that putt.
And we're both at like 5 feet from the basket, so I'm not going to bother with leaving the tap-ins in here.
Yeah.
We're not super stoked with pars. We're stoically. There's a water here. I was considering the skip play.
I would have gone for it.
I mean, I tried. I actually laced this shot. This is exactly what I wanted. Perfectly through the gap, right into the side of a tree, and I'm pinned up behind it. I have to throw a forehand. That's unfortunate result there, but that's the way it goes sometimes. You're going for the ice skip? Off the ice? Do it. Oh.
The unintentional, yeah. That's 2 in a row now that I've thrown it low. You can tell it's a little bit of off-season, but this time I told you before I threw this, I'm going for glory here. I've been loving the Vandal for this exact type shot. Just hyzer flips, you hit a gap, and go straight forever. Don't hit squirrels. But just that is what the Vandal does, man. That was the first time I've thrown it in a hot minute, but I am so excited for that disc.
That was very straight. That was a beautiful thing. You were kind of pinched off on your run up too. You couldn't exactly get where you were wanting to, so that's clutch to execute that. I just threw my forehand a little too floaty. I could have thrown it Anheuser in that direction or that angle in a different direction, and I chose neither. So I'm left with 35 feet here. Just airballed it right.
Yeah.
And then you have, what is it, 20 feet?
Yeah,
25.
probably 25 or so, a little bit uphill. And I believe this is the guard still. And just, I'm not used to something that deep. Just yanked it right. Not super stoked to miss that one.
You could very clearly see we are not happy.
Yeah.
So we're both still at even par going into hole 5. Hole 5 is a 477-foot par 4. I'm trying to go a little bit of a turnover with the gatekeeper, but I was trying to go a good bit left of that, so I didn't end up under the tree.
Throw it so hard.
Instead, I ended up directly in the center of the tree.
Is that good?
It's not going to be what you're looking for. You're going for a gatekeeper as well, right?
I'm throwing the gatekeeper on the hyzer line, but you can see the wind kind of picked up there a little bit, so I gave it a bunch of hyzer, a little bit more than I needed to, a little bit more than I meant to. But yeah, it's at the edge of the tree, so I kind of have a straddle.
On the fringe of the tree. I'm going from the middle of a tree. I had about a disc-sized window, so I went with the Recoil forehand out there, and I ended up in the middle of another tree.
Nailed it.
Just a little misread on the wind there. Here also, is this Pioneer or Recoil?
This is actually the Recoil, yeah.
Okay.
I wanted to make sure, it's kind of an awkward stance you could see. I have that branch right in front of me. I just wanted to make sure I cleared the OB and just get it to the green.
It's a super smooth forehand. Good shot.
Yeah, it came out really nice. I really, really like the Recoil on a sidearm, even for shorter shots like that.
It's got good glide there for sure. I just pitching out. And this is for your birdie.
This is for my birdie, and this is with the Keystone now. I haven't had much success with the guard, so I'm switching it up.
Right side,
Keystone
got it.
Saving me there.
They call that the pro side for
Double
a reason.
putts? Is that
That's
a
it.
double birdie?
Probably. I should adjust your score then. You're pretty happy to get that birdie. From where I was off the tee, a birdie was going to be hard to come by. I'm kind of okay with the par.
Yeah.
Moving on to hole 6 here is 325, uphill with a low ceiling, so it's a very tricky line. You're going Vandal?
I'm going Vandal. We had a pretty decent kind of right to left tailwind, and I figured if I just got it up there, the wind would push it, and I got it up there in the trees, not up there on the fairway. Got kicked down. I'm about halfway.
All right. Well, given your shot, I went with the Recoil here. I'm trying to go through that right side gap and get some skip. And I went through the right side gap, narrowly missed that tree, just didn't quite get enough skips. If that gets like 20 more, then I'm set. But it's just a little bit low. I like the Pioneer on those skip shots because it does dive into the ground well.
Yeah.
I just didn't quite give it enough height to get over that hill before it skips.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going Keystone again here.
You running it?
Oh, I'm trying to make this one. Definitely laid it up. I misremembered the situation. My bad there.
Tailwind said, get that out of here.
So you've got me by 1 after hole 6. You're feeling pretty confident now?
I'm feeling good about it. I've been having some success with the Keystone and the Gatekeeper specifically. This is the Pioneer. There was some headwind, and I'm just having some early release, or low release, I should say, issues today.
So this is a par 4. This ends on an island green, and you have to come to rest on the island. I went with a Recoil. We have a headwind. I gave it a good amount of hyzer, but it doesn't really like headwinds much.
Off the pole, though.
That's one of the first times I've hit that pole, and I wasn't even aiming for it. So usually I am aiming for that pole.
I was lucky enough to quite literally barely scoot inbound, so I'm throwing Gatekeeper. Just get me to the edge, play for a 4 at this point.
That's the landing zone that the big arms can go for off the tee.
Yes. Are you going for the island now?
Yes, this is a Pioneer, and I was trying to just throw it out to that right side and let it fade in. I unfortunately just didn't quite give it enough, and I ended up safe just short of the island.
Okay.
So I still had to just pitch up.
Safe is safe.
I was trying to get a 3, but it looks like I'm just going to have to settle for the 4. Just a 1-stroke swing. It's not too bad. What is this?
This is the Pioneer. I was worried about it catching edge and skipping, so I kind of babied it, and I'm going to finish way left side short of the island, but again, safe is safe.
I really liked the guard for these floaty up shots because it's got that blunt edge. It's not going to carry too far past the basket. So you're here, what, 40, 45 feet?
Thereabouts, yeah. This is the Keystone. It saved me on hole 5, so I figure I'll keep going with a hot hand. Chainsaw try to razz me. I don't care. I don't care.
That was a huge putt. I thought I had one on you there.
I was super
Jam
stoked
sesh
to
from
make that
downtown.
one.
That
Yeah.
was awesome.
Almost slipped getting it out of the basket.
With the fist pump. Oh, great putt. That was awesome. So after 7 holes, you are still ahead of me by 1.
Just barely.
At 1 under. So moving on to hole 8 is 365 downhill. We had a pretty substantial headwind here, and you're going with the Vandal. How did you like the Vandal in the headwind?
I was genuinely surprised. You're going to see it hyzer flip and turns, and it doesn't dump. I was really expecting it to turn over more. It doesn't quite fade out much, but I was very surprised by how much it held up in that wind and just rode to the right.
I decided to go with the Pioneer here, and so I wanted to throw it flat and hard, and I just threw it, I think, a little too hard. I just torqued on it a little bit too much, and that combined with the headwind just didn't let it hold up. So it flipped over to the right, and I'm ending up pitching up here with the gourd.
The gourd. Flirt the gourd.
So I just float it right up there. And this is you. I'm counting this one for you, given your record so far, man. You've been jamming them.
Sticking with the Keystone. Felt good on the hand.
Just
short.
That's all right. A couple of pars on hole 8. That's given that we don't know our discs, that's going to be a fairly common score there.
Yeah, and that one's tough because the Pioneer is so overstable. It's hard to park it with the Pioneer, and with the Vandal being understable, it's hard to get it there in the headwinds.
So here, hole 9 is 726-foot par 4. You're trying to just gap it perfectly down the center like you're doing here.
This is Gatekeeper. This is 100% going for 4 off the tee, and that's the perfect spot.
That's a fantastic throw. This is Vandal for me. I'm going for a little bit more distance, but I think the downhill just helped it flip just a little bit more than I was expecting. I'm not mad at where it is. It's still in a good spot.
You're definitely in birdie territory there.
So you're on the you're going for this right gap.
Yep. This is the Pioneer again. Just throw a safe hyzer. It was kind of muddy, windy. I'm not trying to do anything crazy. You can really lose strokes here. Yeah.
I'm going for a forehand with the Recoil because it's got a good amount of glide. It tends to go pretty far on that forehand. So I'm trying to hang it out over the road and fade it up next to the basket. And I let it get a little bit too high. Didn't quite throw it hard enough. So I'm at 45 maybe. I've got a jump putt from there.
But still, to be where we are right now with 0 OB strokes is saying a lot on this hole. This is a nasty hole.
So this is your third shot. You're pitching up with the guard or Keystone?
That's the gourd.
Gourd.
Flirting it.
Just flirt it right up there. This is, I'm still going with Keystone here.
Jam sesh?
Oh, okay, thanks, Tailwind.
Oh.
I thought the tailwind would drop into the basket, but not when you throw it 5 feet over the basket.
Little bit high.
You've got to generally throw it at the basket first, and then the tailwind will help. Pro tips for the future. A couple of pars on hole 9. Moving on to hole 10 here. You're going with the Vandal again. You've been liking that one.
I love the Vandal. Yeah, it's really similar to the Maverick, but a little bit faster for me. And this is a hole where I normally throw Maverick, so I figured Vandal just do the same thing and maybe scoot a little past it. Again, early release, but there's kind of a jumper half go from there.
It was a good flight, just a little bit of the wrong direction. I'm going Gatekeeper here. I was trying to throw it flat at those branches and work it to the right, and I just didn't quite throw it hard enough and gave it a little bit of hyzer. So that's going to put me pretty far out there on the left side and short.
The Gatekeeper is surprisingly stable. It'll handle power for sure.
I feel like if I'd actually torqued on it and thrown it as hard as I needed to, it could have gotten there and definitely could have flipped a little bit.
Sort of like hole 5, right? Where it just kind of held that smooth turn.
It just makes you throw it hard if you want to see that turn. I tried to flirt the gourd right in there, but it didn't quite work out for me. So again, we're on a solid par train for right now.
We are, you know what?
All
it's
aboard.
Chugging along.
So a couple of pars after hole 10. Moving on to hole 11, the hole that was aced at GBO 2016.
Something like that.
I don't remember. 395 feet downhill over water. That water is frozen though, so if you happen to throw one of your fancy new prototypes out on it, you can walk out and go get it and only be really scared the whole time.
That's what we've heard.
That's definitely can't say, neither confirm nor deny.
No.
That was a great shot with the Vandal, though. You're, what, 25, right, maybe?
A little bit more than that. I'd probably say just outside the circle.
Oh, okay.
A little bit uphill, maybe circle's edge.
I went with the Pioneer here, trying to keep it on that hyzer. I was worried about going long because usually I throw a fairway driver here, so I just didn't quite give it enough. End up with, again, about a circle's edge putt here. Just, nope. That was probably my last putt with the Keystone.
Okay.
I've been trying to make it work till then, but it's gone right a few times. It's just, I don't know what it is about the rim. I tend to release it to the right. Oh, you almost had that.
Almost had that one.
That was close.
So I've been liking the Keystone a lot as a putter. I putt with Wardens. I think it's fairly similar, maybe a little bit less stable than that. But I've been liking it a lot as a putter, and I know Emerson Keith was putting with those at the winter warm-up earlier.
Interesting. So this is hole 12 here, 320 feet. I'm going Pioneer. Just a big hyzer, not really throwing it as hard as I can, just kind of popping it out to that right side and letting it fade. You're going Gatekeeper?
This is Gatekeeper. This was kind of let's see what this disc can do for me. Throwing it pretty hard into some headwind and I threw it on a little bit of hyzer and it stood up, but like it did not flip. It did not show any signs of turning at all out of my hand.
That was a very reliable flight for sure. Just right in between a Bard and like a Sling. I think it really fits. You're running this one.
I was going for it.
You had the height and the distance. So this is for the first birdie in a string of about 17 pars.
There we go.
And that's with the guard. This was when I made the change, starting to try and jam the guard in there. And you actually had a good bit of comebacker there.
Yeah, I'm sticking with Team Keystone for a minute. It's working.
That was a good putt. It's scary on that elevated basket, especially when you've just missed one, to try and turn around and make it. So that was a great putt. So now we're all tied up. I'm happy. This is hole 13, 565-foot par 4. You're trying to end up pretty far down there and on the left side of the fairway so you can gap it on the way up. That's a recoil there. It's a little bit flipped over to the right. I thought I might have an angle, but I'm just too far to the right and too short to get through that gap.
Yep.
Are you going recoil as well?
I also am going recoil, yeah, and like you said, just get up there and get left. And I got half of it. I got halfway up there, but I got all the way left that I wanted.
That's 3/4 by my math.
Yeah. I've got a decent little approach here, except for I'm not going to take that. I'm going up and over.
Muscles McGee over here. Going for the big shot.
You got to do it.
Sometimes you just got to send it. That looks a little low.
A little bit low. Fought through the trees, so made it to the other side, but that is not exactly how you're trying to drop your first 2 shots on this hole.
I'm going with a grenade here with the Pioneer. I hadn't tried it yet, and I think if I get it just a foot to the left, I think that's through, and it might even be parked. So I'm going for a nice floaty approach shot here.
Guard again?
Yeah, nice. I've been liking it on those approaches.
Mm-hmm.
It just sits. It doesn't carry a lot of speed into the ground. Is that the Keystone?
Yep, Keystone. Right. Just get it there. And then just try and dunk it with a Pioneer real quick.
So again, keeping with the par train, a little bit of a bump with the birdie there. Sorry, I'll try to avoid that. Moving on to hole 14 here. Hole 14 is 390 uphill. I'm going with the Vandal, just a smooth turn. I'm really not going to reach this hole with that disc, so I'm just trying to play it for middle of the fairway, getting up there for my 3.
It's hard to reach this hole with any disc. You started to say 400 feet. It plays every bit of probably 415 to 450 almost. It is way up there, and we had some headwind as well. I threw the recoil, just didn't give it enough, and finished out left.
I went with the, I believe a Keystone. This is a Keystone approach. I'm going for a little bit of turnover there, trying to work that in.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't really, just didn't give it quite enough power. It has some good speed for a putter, so I can really throw it hard and not really worry about it. So you're going for a Pioneer approach?
This is a Pioneer approach directly into the sun. There's a pond behind that basket, so I just wanted to make sure I got it close, but definitely not long. So it's a little short, but it's tapping.
This is when I started really feeling confident with the guard there. That's a 25 footer for the par, and I was really enjoying that disc. I'm still on Team Warden, but the guard is a solid second option there. I'm like the second string on Team Guard.
There you go.
But I'm first string on Team Warden. This is a guard off the tee, actually. I hadn't thrown it off the tee yet, so I gave it a little bit of hyzer, and it just dead straight. It didn't want to move left hardly at all at the end, but it didn't flip too much either. That was nice. You're going Gatekeeper?
This is the Gatekeeper, yeah. Leave it low, give it a little bit of hyzer, and hopefully just slide her right up
just
there.
A little bit of skips. So this is 25?
This is about 20, 25. This is back with the guard now because I have a tailwind. Take advantage of that glide. And
there you go. Just throw it in the middle of the basket. It's not that hard.
Man.
So we both ended up with a birdie on hole 15.
Let's go.
We're both pretty happy about that.
Super stoked.
But it's a tight race. It's we're both 2 down here, and we're coming up to the last 3 holes. They're all birdieable.
Yes, definitely.
So hole 16 here is a downhill 375-foot par 3. I'm going Gatekeeper, and that shot would have worked if I'd have thrown it 50 feet to the right.
Well, there's a tree there.
Well, yeah. So. It was a little bit of a wrong angle, but I ended up a little short and a little left.
And I also am going Gatekeeper, and I believe I said, okay, I'll throw mine flat then, and threw almost the exact same shot, but just shorter than yours.
Okay.
So.
Okay, so we've got some practice to get in with the Gatekeeper.
A little bit. This is the Keystone, I believe.
Okay.
Just
giving it a chance. And here I wanted this long putt here. Just float the guard, let it get there
off
the rim.
Oh, dang it.
It was so
close.
Huge. So we're kind of upset to take pars there.
Yeah, that's one with your normal bag and normal conditions. You're definitely trying to get that birdie.
So here's 405. I feel like this is an ideal Vandal shot here.
Yes.
I threw it flat, not quite as hard as I could, and it was tracking until it hit that tree.
Until it hit that tree.
That tree is not my friend right now.
I'm going back to the recoil on a sidearm. Like I said, I love the recoil on a sidearm. I don't usually love wide rim discs, but it flies so nice.
I tried to float the guard in, but it just didn't quite
Elevator
get
down.
it there. That's farther than I can putt. I might should have thrown that one. And here you are from like 80, 90.
Something like that. With the keystone.
Probably at least 150 feet.
At least 150 feet. That was not intentional. It was kind of like I'm just gonna get it there and see what happens.
It's a fantastic putt. That's insane.
Keystone said, "Let me do something for you
just
here,
in
bud."
the right side of the basket.
So
No
officially,
doubts.
Team Keystone.
Team Keystone. That was a beautiful putt. Way to go. To take the lead with one to go.
Extremely happy about that. Yes.
Playing hot coming down the stretch. Here we're on hole 18, 340. It's a turnover shot with the nasty woods on the right. So you're going, I think we both went Vandal here.
Both went Vandal. Yeah, just get that turnover. Just get it close to the basket and leave yourself a putt.
If that had finished straight, it would have been parked. But it finished a little bit right, so you're just a little short.
Yep.
Kind of the same deal with mine. I think I threw mine a little harder, but it again, if it had finished there, it would be parked. But I ended up just barely in the woods. So you're 35 out?
They're about
Oh, cage.
a little bit short. Yeah.
Dang it. I'm going with the guard here. I'm feeling confident.
This is the tie.
20 feet for the
No
tie.
pressure.
There it is. I was so happy to make
Clutch. Clutch.
Team card, ladies and gentlemen. Team card.
that.
Firmly on
Switching
Team
it
Guard.
up for 2000. Actually, I'm definitely not. I'm definitely still on Team Ward. But guard is a solid second option.
It's a very nice
Well, I
putter
got
for
second
sure.
string Team Guard. So if Team Warden ever doesn't need me, I'm there.
Perfect.
So actually, when we were filming this, we thought that I had won. We thought that
did.
putt there was for the win. So, but we're tied. So we need some sort of tiebreaker here. And you suggested something really great earlier.
Yes, so we have all of these prototypes already. The only prototype that we don't have is the Raider, which is a new distance driver that's going to be coming out from us around GBO time, I believe. It's supposed to be kind of a stable to overstable distance driver. And so what we're going to do for our playoff tiebreaker, we are going to have a throw-off on the practice hole here at the warehouse. Once we get those Raiders in, we're going to have a CTP. And whoever can get it closer,
Whoever is CTP.
that's how CTPs work. That's our tiebreaker.
Sounds good. We need to come up with some sort of wager to put on this too. So let us know in the comments if you have any ideas there, and let us know what of these prototypes you're the most excited to throw as soon as they release. The Pioneer and the Recoil are available at the Dynamic Discs buyback retailers in a special edition plastic right now. I know the Gatekeeper is going to be the Trilogy Challenge release. The Keystone's a Trilogy Challenge release. It's be watching for these discs to hit the shelves.
Sweet stuff coming this year.
These are some nice discs here. So thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe if you want to see more content like this from our channel, and we'll see you next time.